Hi guys, so today we are going to talk about the grossest thing about van life. Yep, that's right, we're going to talk about the bucket toilets, we're going to talk about RV toilets, and we're going to talk about porta potties, so stick around. Okay, so any of you that have been with me for a while now know that I use a luggable loo on top of a 5-gallon bucket that I covered with contact paper for an emergency toilet. You guys might have seen this in my van tour, but I kind of wanted to go into detail about it more than what I did, so I'm just kind of showing it to you guys now. And this is the luggable loo lid, and it's kind of handy. It actually like snaps down onto the 5-gallon bucket, and then the lid, you know, snaps down. Well, it used to snap down really tight so that, you know, it kind of holds odors in, and it also hopefully will keep the contents from spilling if you have to hit the brakes really hard. This I had planned when I first, you know, got this, was it was going to be more like a composting toilet where I could use it more often, but that proved to be something that I did not need to do or want to do. And then on top of that, I've noticed that because this is just a cheap little thing here, the lid actually broke off. It doesn't stay on anymore. There's like one of the pins in the back came off, and I guess that's quite common because I've heard other van dwellers talk about it in some of their videos. But yeah, Reliance, if you're listening, you know, you need to fix this back pin back here, because even, you know, after light use of it, it breaks off pretty easily. I mean, I didn't have this toilet more than a couple months before it broke off. And I take care of my things. I try not to hurt them. But yeah, so this is one of the grossest things in van life. This is probably a deal breaker for many people, but I find that it works, because I only use it as an emergency toilet. And I figured since I had to use it the other day, and I had to change it, and now that it's clean and everything, I wanted to show everybody that what you can do is you could put garbage bags inside of here, and then I like to use the pine sawdust. You can get it at Walmart. It's like the pine bedding. And I have tried several different things. I've tried the newspaper pet bedding. I have tried the cedar kind. I have tried just shredded up papers and stuff like that. And I find for odor control and absorption, the pine bedding works the best. And anybody who has had pets that are kind of stinky will probably, you know, back me up on this. Or anybody that's used a composting toilet of any sort will back me up on this. Unless you have the special toilet with the special enzymes and all that, you know, with the cocoa core and all that kind of stuff, and you want to pay the extra money, you know, I think the pine shavings are the best. And if you're lucky and you live near a sawmill, or you know somebody that mills their own lumber or cuts their own firewood, you might even be able to get sawdust every once in a while for free. So it's, I think, for living on the cheap, it's one of the best viable options. And like I said, to me, it keeps the stink away a lot better. And what I do is I just double bag it with these really heavy duty trash bags. They're like trash compactor bags. And the reason why I do that is because no matter how tight you get the bag, grocery bag or otherwise, the smell comes through, and I don't like that. So I don't want that in my van, because sometimes I can't throw it away right away. And so I have to put it up front, you know, away from me, and I can still smell it. So with these bags, and I double wrap it, it works pretty good. And it would be expensive if I had to use it every day, but I don't, because I usually use a public restroom because I work and I'm always near a public restroom, things like that. If I'm way out in the woods, I'll dig a cat hole or a latrine if I'm going to stay longer. Or, you know, a lot of times I try to camp near a pit toilet so I don't have these issues. But it is very nice, especially for ladies, to have an emergency toilet if necessary. Now, I do not pee in this. Okay, that's the key, guys. You can't pee in here. You can only poo in here, because if you pee in here, then you're really going to have a toxic waste mess. Okay, pee and poo together are awful. All right, that's why our septic systems are disgusting. If you keep the pee and poo separate, then you won't run into so many issues with the smell and bacterias and all this other. It's just awful. Really, trust me, you don't want the pee in here, only the poo. And I used to have it rigged up to where I had a funnel with a bottle in here so I could do the urine separator, but that didn't work very well in this setup. And someday when I do build a real composting toilet, I will have an actual urine diverter separator kind of thingy, and the bucket will be, you know, back further and all by itself, and it will have the regular size toilet seat. I just haven't gotten around to building one yet, so I have to basically just be very careful and try not to go pee in here, only poo. So yeah, that's the gist on that. Okay, so all of you guys are probably thinking, well, Sarah, why don't you just use a porta potty like a civilized human being? Well, because porta potties are gross. They mix your toxic pee and your toxic poo together, which makes a really disgusting volatile mix like we just discussed. And also a special chemical that's supposed to help break that down and disguise the odors, which it does not. It just basically puts perfume over poop smell, which is really gross. And then you have to take it out of your van, and it weighs a ton because there's water in one chamber and poo in another chamber. And you take it apart some way somehow, and hopefully it doesn't leak all over the place and all over you and all over wherever. And then you have to discreetly try to take it someplace to dump it, whether it be a dump facility or, I don't know, a public restroom. Most of the time, that's all we have around here is public restrooms. So yeah, I think that's really disgusting, as opposed to, you know, wrapping it up, it one-time use up that's separated, and wrapping it up as tight as you can, and throwing it in the nearest garbage can like you would a baby diaper or a dog poop. To me, that's a lot less disgusting. Space wise, it's about the same, you know, footprint as a porta potty. Depending on how you do it, you can even make it smaller. You can customize your bucket toilet to your van. You could even build a real composting toilet, or even buy a composting toilet if you really just want to spend that kind of money and have that kind of convenience. And that's what I would recommend too, if you want to use it all the time, rather than just using it as an emergency toilet. I recommend that you build a real composting toilet, or buy like a Nature's Head or an Airhead or something like that, so that you don't stink up your van. Because if you just use a sawdust toilet that's simple like the one I have, it's okay if it's outside, but if it's in your van, it's going to stink up your van. You really don't want that. So yeah, it's just a one time, one and done kind of thing, and you wrap it up as tight as you can and throw it away like a baby diaper or a dog poop. So, you know, and like I say, I only use it in a dire emergency. I think I've used my toilet once in the past, I'd say 7 or 8 months. Just because, you know, sometimes that happens. You just have to go in the middle of the night or whatever, and you don't want to get out of your van because you're trying to stealth camp, or it's raining or something like that. You just can't do it. So, or there's no public bathrooms open, because like where I live, you know, after about 5 or 6 o'clock at night, especially in the wintertime, the public restrooms are closed. So if you can't stand the thought of peeing in a bottle and or possibly using an emergency sawdust toilet in my area, then you're pretty much out of luck after dark. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I have this thing in here. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't even need it, because I'm always near a public restroom, because I work, and also because, you know, they're just around, because I'm static camping in a town. Yeah, I really like my emergency toilet, but eventually, especially if I get, you know, a different rig or a bigger rig, I will definitely build a proper composting toilet with the real urine separator and the vent on the back and all that kind of good stuff, so that it's actually, you know, my toilet, so I don't have to worry about, you know, finding one or whatever. But if you're out in the woods and you know what you're doing, you can, you know, dig a good cat hole in an emergency too. And so if you're out in the woods, it may not be as big of a deal to have your own toilet. But if you have to static camp, you know, in the city, or stealth camp someplace if you're passing through or whatever, and the bathrooms are closed, then, you know, it's a good option to at least have an emergency toilet. And as far as like choosing between, like, you know, the main systems, like, you know, dry toilets versus porta potties or RV toilets, you know, hands down, I think anything that's a dry toilet, if you're living in a small van, is the best way to go. Mostly not just because of the disgusting factor, but because of the weight factor, because all of that liquid, you know, it you know, adds some weight to your van. You don't really want that. And if you already have an RV, like say a class B or C or A that you're traveling in, and you have a regular RV toilet, you know, that is still a good option if you can find good places to dump when you need to dump. And if you don't mind paying, you know, $5 to $25 a piece. And to be honest with you, if I had to choose between a porta potty and a regular RV toilet, I would choose a regular RV toilet hands down, because people are used to, you know, people wanting to dump their RV tanks. It's kind of expected. And on top of that, you really don't have to come in as close contact with your waste, because RV tanks basically stay mounted to your rig, and you know, you attach the little stinky slinky, you know, hose up to it, and then you put the other end of the hose into the dump station, and then you pull the valve, and there you go, and then you clean everything out when you're done. So to me, if I had to choose, because I've done this in my entire life pretty much off and on, I would definitely go with the RV toilet over a porta potty, unless you just didn't have the space. But as far as all of them are concerned, whatever dry toilet you could do, if you can do it, if you're building your own rig, no matter how big it is, or how small it is, you know, do a custom dry toilet for yourself, or buy a Nature's Head or something like that, because you're going to save on the weight, and you're going to save on the smell, because I'm telling you, even real RV toilets that are in good working order, a lot of times they can stink. No matter what you do. I had this old RV and the plumbing was fine in it, but no matter what I did, it still would reek driving down the road. It was like somebody just opened up the sewer valve, and you could smell it no matter what we did. We tried everything, and it would still just reek. Whether we dumped it before we left or not. So yeah, just so you know, as far as I'm concerned, I think that, you know, dry toilets are the way to go, no matter what. You know, do your own research, do your due diligence, but yeah, and decide for yourself. But as far as my opinion goes, I think that, yeah, you're better off with something that's like, no matter how big your rig is, if you're building your own rig and you have the choice, or you're remodeling your RV and you're looking for something, you know, different, definitely give a dry toilet of some sort a try. There's all different kinds out there too. There's the kind that that are the real composting toilets that cost about $1,000. There's the kind that I call them like the diaper genie toilets. I don't even know what they're really called, but they're called I think they call them dry flush or something like that. And they have a bag inside of them that you do your business in, and then it closes up the bag like this around the waist, and then it, like, you know, ties it in a knot, so, and then smashes it down and keeps it inside of the unit so you don't even smell it. And then when the whole thing is full, just like a diaper genie, it'll flash a light and tell you when you need to take the whole entire toxic waste cookie out and throw it away. And it's all supposedly contained, and it doesn't leak or anything like that, so you never ever come in contact with your waste. And it supposedly is, you know, stink free. So if that's something that concerns you guys, and you don't want to touch it, you don't want to smell it, that's a good toilet to do. Then there's the Nature's Heads, where it basically turns your poo into dirt before you even throw it out. And depending on, you know, how many people you have using it, it can last like a few weeks or a month or two before you have to dump it. So that's a good option too if you're boondocking and you don't want to dump or throw a bunch of poop bags away. So that's a really good option. And then of course a real composting toilet that you build yourself, it's going to be pretty efficient too, and it might even last you almost as long as the Nature's Head one before you have to go ahead and dump it. There's just all kinds of options out there, so don't feel like you're relegated to just, you know, the plain old porta potty or, you know, just the plain old bucket. Go out there and check it out. Like, you know, read up on it. Go get some books on it. There's books called Humanure that talk about how to compost your own poo, and there's just all kinds of resources out there on the internet. There's YouTube videos, there's all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I encourage you guys to go explore all these things. And I know it's a gross subject and it's pretty disgusting, but I feel like it's an important subject. So that's why I revisit it from time to time. And I want to remind people that there are things that you can do in your van to be sanitary and safe. And I think that a dry toilet is a very good option for that. So I hope you guys got something out of this. If you did, please like and subscribe, and you know what to do. Check out my video descriptions and all that, and ring the bell, and you know, just hit the thumbs up, man. And thank you guys for your support. Thanks for taking your time watching me and talking about a disgusting subject. So all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.